anticipate where it may appear on a given night. It normally doesn't appear close to the break room. The appearance usually occurs between 2 and 3:30 a.m. It seldom occurs on more than 5 nights in a calendar year. Although it can happen more than once per night, there's a critical bit of knowledge you must know pertaining to more than one appearance in a night. Refer to Appendix B. Rule 6. Weekends in the headless e-bike rider. On rare occasions you might need to work weekends. At precisely 2:23 a.m. every Sunday, a ghostly apparition of a headless bike rider will ride past the break room windows. He's on an electric bike with the logo of a bike-share company long since out of business. As far as we know, he's harmless as long as you don't go out and confront him. He doesn't care if you watch him through the window. If you don't want to see it, simply close the shades or don't look outside at that time. If you followed all these rules, he shouldn't appear any other day or time. Appendix A. The refrigerator on the far corner of the break room, adjacent to the window. Inside this fridge there is nothing except a full 2-liter bottle of Sprite. It is for use only in the event little hijab girl tries to cuddle up with you and join you while you're trying to work. You are never to open that refrigerator or use that jug of Sprite for any other occasion or purpose. Leave your workstation immediately in the scenario described. She will follow you but lag behind you, giving you time to deploy the Sprite as directed. The procedure: 1. Open the fridge containing the 2-liter bottle of Sprite. Don't waste time fiddling with the seal on the door, just firmly pull the door open and the seal should break. 2. Fetch the bottle of Sprite from the fridge and remove the cap. Retrieve a drink cup if you can find one within a few seconds, but don't take any longer before the next step. 3. Stand in the center of the break room, holding the bottle of Sprite, and the drink cup if you were able to find one. Take a commanding posture and hold your head high. Inhale fully. 4. Pour the Sprite into the cup, overflowing it onto the floor, or if you weren't able to retrieve a cup, simply pour the contents of the bottle directly on the floor, while singing loudly, "I got ho-oh-oh-oh-oh-oh-yes." This is similar to a TikTok trend from 2019, the Spill the Drink Challenge. You should look that up and become familiar. Continue holding the word ho-oh-oh-oh-oh-oh-yes as long as your breath allows. If you haven't finished emptying the Sprite bottle onto the floor by that time, take a deep breath while continuing to pour and repeat the verse "I got ho-oh-oh-oh-oh-oh-yes," the whole sequence as many times as necessary until the entire bottle of Sprite has been poured on the floor. If you poured into a beverage cup, throw that randomly. If this procedure is done correctly, little hijab girl will completely disappear for the remainder of that night. Don't worry about cleaning up. The janitorial staff have been notified of the possibility that they might need to clean up a large mess of Sprite in the break room, and they're prepared and happy to do so. Appendix B. The downstairs. Once you enter the foyer to the stairs leading down, you are committed to passing through the whole ordeal through the downstairs. Also, if you drop any item down the stairs, even accidentally, you must enter and go through the process. If you go back upstairs, or don't enter after dropping an item into the stairwell, you will return to what looks like the world, but soon you will realize it's not, and you will be stuck forever. Do not look for the items you accidentally dropped if that's what caused you to go downstairs. They won't be there, and you won't get them back until after you go through the escape procedure. There are 8 rooms downstairs, 7 walls between, one after the other. Each successive wall has 3 doors, a red door, a blue door and a green door. The side of the door by which you entered each room is black and closes behind you once you enter, and it has no doorknob on the inside so you can't open it. You must pass through all 8 rooms, via the red, blue and green doors in each of the 7 walls by the following color sequence: red, blue, green, blue. When you pass through the last door, if you got them all correct, you will find yourself back in the lab and no time will have elapsed since the time you entered the downstairs. Any items you dropped will be on the floor as if you had dropped them by accident and the stairs leading down weren't there. If you go through any incorrect door, the little hijab girl will be there. She will be excited to play with you, and it will get very, very bad for you. Also, this escape code only works once per night. The second time there are no doors downstairs and no color codes. Just the little hijab girl and her many, many friends. They all want to play with you. You'll never escape. If the stairs leading down reappear that same night after you've gone through once, we require you to leave the building, staying as far away as possible from the stairs down, especially if you're carrying any items, which you should set down far from the portal, gently, and any round objects that might roll must be set so they won't. Even if you know not to try to explore a second time, the risk is that you might trip and fall or drop something by accident that falls in, and the danger is too much for us to let you remain that night. Generally you won't be disciplined, but you will have to use your paid time off if you want to get paid for the hours you missed. This is because you gave into your boredom and made the choice to explore the downstairs the first time, and it's totally unnecessary to explore the downstairs. If you entered the first time because you dropped stuff by mistake and that committed you to the procedure, that's your carelessness and responsibility. The implications of a mishap involving the downstairs are severe enough that we are requiring you to carry on your person at all times when you are in the building at night. A pocket-sized quick reference card with the door color sequence to escape the downstairs. You will find this in an envelope on a workbench in the shop where the night light should be left on next to where you enter and exit. Appendix C, the scanning electron microscope. Little hijab girl will sometimes be seen operating the electron microscope. Do not disturb her or enter the room when she is doing so. She is an expert at using that equipment, a true child prodigy. It is especially important that you don't look at the screen or try to see what she sees. She's examining your soul. You actually have a better chance of not being bothered at your work when she's using the electron microscope, because she'll be engrossed in that instead of frolicking about the facility making a ruckus. Appendix D, the XRF spectrometer. Little hijab girl is also a prodigy at using the XRF spectrometer, and, like with the electron microscope, she does so to evaluate your soul. XRF spectrometry is normally non-destructive, but she knows how to cause your soul to evaporate via the X-ray fluorescence, and doing that makes her feel good. If you find her using the XRF, look straight at her and tell her firmly and clearly don't play with that. She will immediately turn off the XRF. This is the one and only scenario you should ever attempt to speak directly to little hijab girl. So I arrived at the place at exactly 9:30 p.m., like I was directed. The nightlight was on. I closed and locked the door and set my scooter up on its kickstand there in the shop room. On the workbench, there was an envelope, and in that was the card with the color code for the sequence of doors in the basement. Finding that was a reminder that this stuff is real. I slipped the card into my pocket. In the conference room, the bathroom door was closed and I could see light streaming out under the door. I checked the break room. The fridge by the window had the seal intact, dated 3 days ago, still valid. In the electron microscope room, the light was on. In the XRF spectrometer lab, the light was off. I began testing the product that needed to ship the next day. It's all the same stuff I did when I was on day shift. At 11 p.m., I took my first break. I heard a cute giggle, and out of the corner of my eye I saw a hint of orange and purple flutter jump quickly past a corner then vanish at the other end of the lab from the break room. It was very dim there, most of the lights were off. Nothing else remarkable. I took one bathroom visit, and she didn't appear in the mirror. At 1:30 a.m. I took my 30-minute lunch and ate the food I'd brought from home and stashed in one of the fridges I was instructed was okay for normal lunch storage. I made some ramen in one of the microwaves that I was told was safe to use. At 4 a.m. I was about to take my second break, but I noticed a smell of prime rib like I've never experienced before. I knew to stay out of the break room until that disappeared. Exactly 8 minutes later the smell vanished and I had the perception of completely forgetting how delicious it smelled. In the break room there was no sign anything had been different. At 6 a.m., I locked the door, hopped on the scooter and rode home. Falling asleep to the morning sunlight peeking through the drawn blinds, creating warmth on my blankets, I was thinking that this just might be worth the extra pay the second night. I arrived at work, much the same. Everything that needed to be checked for me to start a safe night was once again correct. At 2:11 a.m., I noticed the lighting behind me was different than before. I looked and there was a stairway leading down. I decided to